Welcome to Jubilee Circle this morning. Thank you so much for being here, either out there in TV land, on YouTube, or here in the building. We're so happy to have you here with us this morning. 2, 3. Oh, wait a minute. Drummer needs drumsticks. Jason Mraz. 2, 3. When there is love, I can't wait to talk about it when things get rough. I like to walk with you, oh, when it's night. I like to be the light that's missing and remind you every minute of the future isn't written, not yet. When there is love, when the heart feels heavy, we can lighten it up. If you've had enough, well, you can empty your glass and we can fill it back up. You know it's up to us to make it all up. So what you making up, I can make it up. That you could be loved no matter what. You know the only time is right now. It's right here where you are. You don't need a vacation when there's nothing to escape from singing. Ha la 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 la, ha la 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 la. Let's all sing ha la 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 la, laying it down. Everything is sound. Let's sing to be happy, to feel things, to communicate, be heard. We sing out to protest and to project and to harmonize with birds. Whether it's your birthday or your dying day, it's a celebration to rejoice. Use your voice, give wings to any old choice. Whatever you're choosing right now, it's right where you are. You don't need a vacation when there's nothing to escape from. Set your vibration and undulation to the highest it can go. And trust me, hear me, if it makes you wanna sing, just sing it. La 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 la, la 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 la. Let's all sing la 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 la, laying it down. Everything is sound. La 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 la, la 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 la. Let's all sing la 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 la, hallelujah. La 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 la, la 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 la. Let's all sing la 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 la, laying it down. Everything is sound. La 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 la, la 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 la. Let's all sing la 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 la, hallelujah. We're connected now. Oh yeah. All right, welcome again everybody. Give me just a second. Make a little adjustment on the board over here. All right. Welcome, and if you are watching us via YouTube, you're welcome to download the bulletin. It is at jubileecircle.com. There on the front page you will find a link to the bulletin. You can follow along with all of our songs and readings and everything. They will be right there in one convenient location, just like the bulletin here in the room. Only actually it has more information if you're here in the room and you want to read along with the readings, and it's all in there. You can use the tablet, you can use your phone. All right. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. And I always like to be inclusive here, so every year I say, if you are one, have one, or have ever been called one, Happy Mother's Day. Yes, see? He was called one this morning, so.
No, I just said Happy Mother's Day. And he said, I was in
Oh, you were in traffic. That's usually when you get called one, is when you're in traffic. Ah, yeah, you're the number one mother.
Number one?
Oh. Today we are continuing our VIA Transformativa theme of barriers be gone. We're exploring how we can tear down all of the barriers that we usually erect to love. And I forgot to light everything today, so let's do some lighting of the stuff. I am recalcitrant today. Y'all, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was the weather change or whatever, but I have had a persistent headache since yesterday. So if I stumble and seem a little... No, it's called Keith, and I can't get rid of it. So I've had a headache. I've had a headache for years, and
3.5 years.
for about 3.5 years I've had this headache, and Keith is still here. So.
Oh, come on.
But we're so happy that Keith is still here. Keith is the best headache ever. So
That's what she said.
That's what she said. Oh, all right. See what you miss when you're in the building? Yeah, you know, if you're watching from TV, it's a little bit different. All right. So, breathe deeply. We're going to need a lot of that today. As that great theologian Tina Turner once asked, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a secondhand emotion? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? They're all really good questions these days as we watch the world around us, government institutions eroding, a high court seeking to take away rights from women, a war raging on the other side of the world. It seems like we're surrounded by the sea of tribalism, of fear and hatred for one another. We're not seeing a lot of evidence of love in the world. And yet, despite what it looks like on the outside, I dare say, jubilants, that love will win out. A Course in Miracles says the world ends in laughter. And since we're not doing a lot of laughing these days, it's not the end of the world. No matter how loudly our ego insists that it is. Remember last week I told you that witnessing or being the victim of rudeness diminishes our creativity. Y'all remember that? We had the brick and Bob heckling me very well. There's just a chance of light heckling today. So. But with everything that has transpired this week, I think researchers would say we are in a creativity drought. But you know what is creative? Anybody got an idea? What's creative? Love! There you go. Somebody got it. Yes. Love is creative. It's always creating. And it's always inviting us to be its co-creators. So jubilants, I do not despair today because I know that there are people in this world who know that love will win, no matter what the odds. We increase both the odds and the speed of that victory of love, though, by doing what we can in the physical world to end suffering, but also to work within, to meditate, to tune into those creative solutions that are based in love that we all need in this moment in history. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said that our struggle in this world is to create, quote, a positive contest to harness our creative genius for the purpose of making peace and prosperity a reality for all the nations of the world. Our struggle, he says, is to create a positive contest to harness our creative genius for the purpose of making peace and prosperity a reality for all the nations of the world. And jubilants, we don't win that contest through fear or hatred. That only happens through love. You want to know what love's got to do with it? Love is everything, right, Carolyn? It has everything to do with it. Because it's the only solution that makes the whole world say, oh yeah. Please rise as you're able. And we begin, as we do every celebration here at Jubilee Circle, we begin by remembering the four elements, the air and the water and the earth and the fire, and we burn black sage as a reminder to set our intentions for peace and for love, not just within our own hearts, but for the world around us. And we orient ourselves in this sacred time and space by calling the 4 directions. So I invite you to turn and face the east. We thank you, Holy One, for the love of the sun. It pours out its life-giving warmth without regard to status or class or race or nationality or any other label or division we like to create. Help us to learn the lesson of the sun, to dedicate our lives every morning to spreading your holy love and generosity with that same unconditional dedication. Quarter turn to the right and we face the south. We thank you, Holy One, for the love of the south's heat. It brings its warmth without regard to our need or desire for comfort. It brings sweat to the brows of everyone. Help us to be like that South, Holy One, applying the heat of justice and equity whenever we find injustice and oppression. Help us to be the source of heat that melts the cold hearts of those who might be spreading their icy hatred into the world. Quarter turn to the right and we face the west. We thank you, Holy One, for the love of the West as the stars and darkness slip over the sun without regard to our preference for the light of day. Remind us, Holy One, that the West calls us to let go of our dedication to our own preferences and prejudices and notions of how the world ought to be. Help us to put aside anything that causes suffering for ourselves and others, and instead dedicate ourselves in each moment to being that love in the world. Quarter turn to the right and we face the north. We thank you, Holy One, for the love of the north's cold winds. No matter how we try to avoid its chilly blasts, that cold wind penetrates the heart of everyone on this earth, regardless of class or status. Open us, Holy One, to the chill of winter and remind us that without the cold, there can be no warmth or new life. And as we turn back toward the center and have a look around the room, you're going to find a bunch of folks who are still a little bit confused about love. I want to know what love is. What's it for? And the ego wants us to believe that love is fickle and weak. But in reality, love is not just kindness. It is fierceness. And it cuts to the heart of our ego's penchant for separation and fear and conflict. So in this safe and sacred place this morning, Jubilants, I invite you, rededicate yourself to being that creative force of love in the world, that reality within all of us that is just waiting to be brought forward so the entire world can say, oh yeah. Please remain standing, and we're gonna sing a little dance song this morning. We're gonna see how it goes. Little B-52's Love Shack, because we're gonna turn the whole world into a love shack. How about that? At least we are for a few minutes here, and let's take that energy out into the world.
Used to be.
Sorry, Tricia. Sorry, Jessica. It's going to be a love shack right now. So, all right. We're all shacking up, right? And greet each other and dance this morning. All right. Whenever the drummer's ready.
And the piano / cello player.
Go ahead. Just get into the.
Okay, I'm ready.
Here we go. All right. If you see a faded sign at the side of the road that says 15 miles to the Love Shack, yeah.
Headed down the Atlanta highway, looking for the getaway, headed for the getaway.
I got me a car, it's as big as a whale, and we're heading on down to the Love Shack. I got me a Chrysler, it seats about 20, so hurry up and bring your jukebox money. Well, the Love Shack is a little old place where we can get together. Love Shack, baby, a Love Shack, baby. Love Shack, baby, Love Shack. Love Shack, baby, Love Shack. Sign says, stay away, fools, 'cause love rules at the Love Shack. Well, it's set way back in the middle of a field, a funky old shack, and I got a I get there.
Glitter in a mattress, glitter on my highway, glitter on my front porch, glitter in my hallway.
For the Love Shack is a little old place where we can get together. Love Shack, baby. A Love Shack, baby. Love Shack, baby, that's what's it. Love Shack, baby, that's where it's at. Hugging and a kissing, dancing and a loving, wearing next to nothing 'cause it's hot as an oven. The whole shack shimmies when everybody's moving around and around and around and around. Everybody's moving, everybody's screaming, baby. Folks lining up outside just to get down. Everybody's moving, walking in the shack, walking in the shack. Hop in my Chrysler, it's as big as a whale, and it's about to set sail. I got me a car, it seats about 20, so come on and bring your jukebox money. Well, the Love Shack is a little old place where we can get together. Love Shack, baby. A Love Shack, baby. Love Shack, baby, Love Shack. Love Shack, baby, Love Shack. Bang, bang, bang on the door, baby. Knock a little louder, sugar. Bang, bang, bang on the door, baby. I can't hear you. Bang, bang on the door, baby. Bang, bang on the door. Bang, bang on the door, baby. Bang, bang. Yo, what?
Tin roof rusted.
Love Shack, baby, Love Shack. Love Shack, baby, Love Shack. Love Shack, baby, Love Shack. Love Shack. Dancing and a loving at the Love.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. More cowbell. All right. There's never enough cowbell. All right. I can guarantee we the only church in the world playing Love Shack this morning.
Especially right before meditation.
Especially right before meditation. And now, so welcome everybody to Jubilee Circle. We are so glad that you are here, dancing and a lovin', wearing next to nothing, because it's hot as an oven here in this Love Shack. All right. Jubilee Circle, we are an inclusive, interfaith, weird community here in Columbia, South Carolina, and proud of it, doggone it. Broadcasting around the world. Keep Jubilee weird. That's it. That's it. We need that. Ah, that's our next bumper sticker. That's our T-shirt. Keep Jubilee weird. Ah, yes. We teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that is found in all mainstream religions, metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, and inspired secular and religious writers and teachers throughout the ages. We use popular music. You've never heard of the B-52s. Teachings, weekly celebrations, educational and artistic events, and other community-building activities as we seek to create a space for everyone to experience transformation so then they can go out and transform the world. And we believe we're all here to expand our souls, to find that deeper meaning in life, to renew our commitment to love and peace and justice, and learn how to love wastefully and undergo a transformation so complete from the inside out that we just can't help but transform the world around us. And we also recognize we're part of God's good creation. We are formed not just in stardust, but in love and in joy. But we forget this. We arrive on the scene and we look around and we see things that look like they're separate, and then we start to judge them. Oh, that's good, that's bad, that's beautiful, that's ugly, they're generous, they're stingy, they're loving, and they're just
Recalcitrant.
recalcitrant, obstreperous. But let us remember our true function. Here, jubilance, it is to remember who we truly are. We are all out in that unified field. Together, we have never left our unity with each other and our Creator. And we are here to be that open channel for love in this world that makes everybody say, oh yeah. All right, so coming up next Sunday, a few announcements we have for you. Continue our VIA Transformativa theme until summer gets here. We're going to use music from Susan Werner as we explore the barrier of wealth. Wealth. Let's talk about that. Going to do that next week. But this week at Jubilee Circle is exciting because we have opera coming on Thursday night. The Columbia Operatic Laboratory is bringing an English adaptation of The Impresario to our stage. It's a one-act opera. It's for everybody, just not opera aficionados. It will be sung in English, so you know what they're talking about. Bob thought it was going to be Oprah, not opera. Well, we would have to charge more if it were Oprah, but it's only $10 at the door. We'll have light snacks and drinks just for a requested donation to Jubilee to cover our costs. But come and enjoy. It's going to be great. And then Friday, if you haven't had enough fun on Thursday, come Friday on the 13th for Improverts. This is a place to just come and relax and do a little improv comedy. There's no pressure. We're just going to have a little bit of fun. And Beth DeHart will be leading the evening's games. Do you want to say anything about the...
They're lots of fun.
Yes.
Come on, improvise.
You don't have to play. You can come
Yeah.
and watch if you wanted to. We're not performing anywhere. It's just a practice group, just for fun.
Just for fun.
You can come and watch or come and play, or heckle. You can come and heckle.
Bob can come and heckle. That's good. All right.
Right.
And then our usual stuff is going on. Our Course in Miracles discussion group Wednesday at 7:30. Soundy School is always at 10:30 before the Sunday celebration. And we have decided to go ahead and put the open mic on hiatus throughout the summer. Everybody's somewhere else, so we're just gonna so June, July, and August we will skip. We'll come back in September. And reinvent the thing and have a good time beginning in the fall. So no open mics for the next 3 months, and then book ahead for Friday, June 17th. We're going to have another Jubilee Circle in conversation, and this is where we talk to folks of other faith traditions. Al Black is going to join us to talk about the Baha'i faith, and with the evening we'll feature a potluck meal beginning at 6:30, and the program will start at 7. So if you wanted to know about what the Baha'is believe, come and hear Al. He's very erudite and can fill us in on that. All right, is there anything I'm missing? Any other? Yeah.
Some of you may have noticed in your mail this week that this coming Saturday is the Postal Service's annual food collection.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we did get that. Okay.
Food out on Saturday, non-perishable. I usually put a can of soup, a couple of packs of ramen.
Okay.
It means something.
Right. And Bob was reminding us that the U.S. Postal Service put a thing in your mailbox. Yes, or you still get like paper mail, reminding us about their annual food drive. So yes, leave out some non-perishables. Your mail carrier will pick that up as they deliver your mail. And we're doing that on what day, Bob? Saturday. Next Saturday. So leave some food for the mail carrier to pick up. Yeah, they'll pick it up Saturday if you put it out next Saturday. Thank you, Bob. That's a good reminder. Anything else? All right. Hear these wise and holy words.
From the Jesus story, Matthew 22, 34 through 40.
Do you not have a microphone?
I can't reach it.
Here, use this one.
Does this help?
It does, but this is just better.
Alrighty, and once again, from the Jesus story, Matthew 22, 34 through 40. When the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together, and one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question to test him. Teacher, which commandment in the law is the greatest? He said to him, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. From A Course in Miracles, Chapter 4. Your gratitude to your siblings is the only gift I want. I will bring it to God for you, knowing that to know your siblings is to know God. If you are grateful to your siblings, you are grateful to God for what He created. Through your gratitude, you come to know your siblings, and one moment of real recognition makes everyone your sibling because each of them is of your holy parent. Love does not conquer all things, but it does set all things right. As you come closer to a sibling, you approach me, and as you withdraw from them, I become distant to you. Salvation is a collaborative venture. It cannot be undertaken successfully by those who disengage themselves from the sonship, because they are disengaging themselves from me. God will come to you only as you will give Him to your siblings. Learn first of them, and you will be ready to hear God. That is because the function of love is one.
These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. Salvation is a collaborative venture. That's completely opposite of what I was taught in the Southern Baptist world. I was taught that salvation was individual. It was you. You know, you're saved by Jesus. One by one, one by one, one by one, you know. But if salvation is a collaborative venture, to me it sounds more like the Buddhist concept of a bodhisattva. A bodhisattva is someone who has the ability to enter nirvana. They have lived through all of their karma. They have become eligible to not have to come back. You don't have to be born again. You don't have to keep going through this cycle of life and life and life and life. They can enter nirvana, but they choose not to because they want to stay in the world as a beacon of love, because they understand salvation is a collaborative venture. That no one is saved until all are saved. That our function here doesn't end until we all wake up, until we all ascend. And so we understand our purpose in this world. It is to be that bodhisattva. It is to be the one who understands salvation is a collaborative venture. And you know what? We don't get there if there's anybody in our heads or in our hearts that we would not include in that salvation. And we all have them. Family members. That's the big one. World leaders. There's somebody that you don't want going to nirvana with you. There's somebody you would exclude. We all have it. I got them. I can name them. Salvation is a collaborative venture. We can't go until we all go. And that seems impossible to your ego. That higher divine self knows it's true, because there's still that little voice that says, yes, yes, yes. Even them. Even them. Who are you leaving out? Who do you need to collaborate with so we all can reach salvation? a tiny spider in here who is not very happy. Come on, buddy. Come on.
Don't want to leave.
No, you don't want to leave. No, you don't want to leave. There he goes. There he goes. All right, he's free. I'm like doing it. I'm like, oh, he's not enjoying himself at all. Oh, poor baby. Breathe deeply. Especially the spider. Poor guy. That was Boris. Boris the spider. Boris doesn't meet a happy end in that song. that one had a little happier ending. All right, our song this morning. We were singing that earlier this morning. We were singing Boris the Spider. All right, our song this morning comes from the rock band Foreigner.
Yes!
No, we're not doing Hot Blooded. I was telling the band, if you had told me when I was 15 that I'd be standing on a stage sometime in my future singing I Want to Know What Love Is, I would have thrown up a little in my mouth. Because I hated this song. But here we are. You can't say the Spirit doesn't have a sense of humor. Oh, yeah. All right, this was Foreigner's biggest hit, actually. Not Hot Blooded. Comes from their 1984 release, Agent. All right. 2, 3, 4. Gotta take a little time to think things over. Better read between the lines in case I need it when I'm older. Now this mountain I must climb feels like the world is on my shoulders. Through the clouds I see love shine. It keeps me warm as life grows colder. In my life there's been heartache and pain. I don't know if I can face it again. Can't stop now, I've traveled so far to change this lonely life. I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me. I wanna feel what love is. I know you can show me. After terrorists flew planes into the World Trade Center in New York City and the Pentagon on September 11th, 2001, and another plane crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers overtook the hijackers, the United States closed its airspace. It forced every plane that was in the air at that moment to land somewhere. For nearly 7,000 passengers, that meant their planes landed in a tiny Newfoundland airport in the town of Gander. The number of people on the planes almost outnumbered the population of this small Canadian town of about 10,000. So on that day, no one on the ground knew if there were terrorists aboard those 38 planes that were sitting on the tarmac in Gander, but it didn't matter. All the residents of that place and nearby towns, all they knew was they had a bunch of people in need of their kindness and their generosity and their love. What the area didn't have, however, were hotels, enough to house 7,000 people, and not enough restaurants to feed that many new people. So the residents of Gander and the surrounding fishing villages opened their homes. They opened their school gymnasiums and their community rooms and their churches. They set up cots and other accommodations for the stranded passengers. Bakeries got to work to feed the people. Hospitals staffed up to help anyone in need. And bus drivers in that area were actually on strike. But they cranked up their buses and they got everybody where they needed to go. The residents even found ways to care for the 17 dogs and cats, as well as 2 great apes that were aboard those 38 planes. Among the passengers were a man and a woman who met as they spent their days in Newfoundland, and they fell in love and got married. 2 other passengers were a gay couple who worried that they wouldn't find any acceptance in this small Canadian town, but they were welcomed with the same hospitality as everybody else. And this jubilance is what love looks like. When we think of love, what first springs to mind is really the ego's idea of love. To the ego, love is a transaction. If you do this for me, I do this for you. If you act lovingly toward me, then I will act lovingly toward you. The ego's love wants to own the other person. And we hear it in love songs all the time that proclaim, somebody is ours, and if you dare to leave me, I'll ruin you, or I'll kill myself, or something equally romantic to the ego. You're mine, right? Love that expects anything in return, or a love that seeks to own someone or something. That is not what love is about. If you want to know what love is, that ain't it. The only kind of love that is real, as we're reminded in 1 Corinthians 13, is the kind that's patient and kind. The real kind of love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth, as the Apostle Paul wrote. That's the love that those plain people, as the locals called them, that's the love they found among those residents of Gander and surrounding villages. A fierce love that flung open the doors and welcomed them, even on very short notice, and they provided for their every need without expecting anything in return. One passenger, 80-year-old Shirley Brooks Jones, spent 3 days in nearby Lewisport and wanted to do something for the town since nobody would take any money for all of these services that were just being doled out. And she was a longtime fundraiser for Ohio State University. And so on the plane back home, she passed around a notebook among the passengers. And by the time the plane landed, she had collected $15,000 for a scholarship fund for the children of Gander. That fund grew to about $2 million. And around 300 high school students had received scholarships by 2016. It's still going. This is what A Course in Miracles means when it says, salvation is a collaborative venture. We don't touch our divinity or even the depth of our own humanity alone. The real form of love, that divine eternal love that has no end, no middle, and no beginning, it's a team sport. The people of Gander did collectively what we are called to do individually. They were open channels for that love, that holy love to just pour into the world. When we do it on our own, we make a little corner of the world brighter. But when we come together as channels of that real divine love, as those people in Gander did, we create a whole new world built on a solid foundation of love. This is the real love that reminds us of our community of spirits, our community as spirits having this bodily experience. Derm Flynn, what a great name, Derm Flynn. He was the mayor of Gander in 2001, and he said nearly 100 nationalities were gathered in the towns over those few days. They were all treated to this buffet-style meal every day, and Flynn says one guy might have been a millionaire, and the other person next to him might have been down to their last dime. It didn't matter. This was a time when people were thrust into a circumstance and situation that they were all the same. Flynn and his fellow residents embody what A Course tells us this morning. If you are grateful to your siblings, you are grateful to God for what God created. Through your gratitude, you come to know your siblings, and one moment of real recognition makes everyone your sibling, because each of them is of your holy parent. Love does not conquer all things, but it does set all things right. Love is not out there conquering. It's just making it all the same. You want to know what love is, jubilants? You need not take a gander much further than a town called Gander. Breathe deeply. 2, 3, 4. Gonna take a little time to look around me. I've got nowhere left to hide. Looks like love has finally found me. In my life, there's been heartache and pain. I don't know if I can face it again. Can't stop now, I've traveled so far to change this lonely life. I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me. I wanna feel what love is. I know you can show me. In our Jesus story this morning, we find our guy doing what he does best, schooling his opponents on the finer points of the law. A lawyer decides to ask Jesus, which commandment is the most important? Now, this was a test because according to Jewish law, if you break one commandment, you've broken them all. So the right answer would be all of them. Jesus, though, he picks 2. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the greatest and the first commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets. And Jesus' answer is positively scandalous. And it gives the Pharisees and his other opponents more fodder against him. But the truth of the matter is, these 2 verses are still offending people thousands of years later. I think even today, most of us would agree that it is good and right to love God with everything we have, with our heart and our soul and our mind. We would also nod in agreement that it's good to love our neighbor. Where we and those sitting in person with Jesus all those centuries ago tend to get tripped up is the whole loving your neighbor as yourself. And I would offer that the world we see around us is already the fulfillment of this law on the egoic level. Because we are loving the world just as we love ourselves, and it proves one thing. We have no idea what it means to love ourselves. No idea. I believe that if we get that first part right, truly understanding how to love ourselves, then that fierce, true, and creative power of love will be revealed, and nothing evil, wrong, violent, or offensive will be able to stand against it. The love we feel for ourselves on this egoic level, like the love we offer to the world, it's all transactional. We will love ourselves once we are smarter, once we like what we see in the mirror, once we are richer, once we are more powerful, once we are less addicted, once we are happier and more respected, then we will love ourselves. We will love ourselves when the outside world gives us what we want, fulfills our every need, and goes out of its way to never upset us or hit an emotional trigger. Then we will love ourselves, right? We got all these conditions. Spend 5 minutes on Facebook and tell me what kind of self-love is being lived out in the world. You can see it. It's what starts wars. We do love the world as we love ourselves. And it has produced a selfish, warring, unstable, cruel, greedy, controlling, and downright recalcitrant world. Do you like this world that we've created? Do you like it? It's a rough place, right? If you don't, it's time to work on that part and truly learn to love ourselves without conditions, without regard to outer circumstances. To love yourself, A Course in Miracles says in chapter 11, to love yourself is to heal yourself. The only way we heal and truly love ourselves is to remember this one thing: salvation is a collaborative venture. Let's say that together. Salvation is a collaborative venture. And what that means, Jubilants, is that developing that deep love for ourself, that capital S self that is our divinity, it is a team sport. We do not accomplish this ever by ourselves. A Course tells us that we are always teaching and we are always learning, and they are the same thing. That means that in our thoughts and actions, we're constantly teaching the world what we believe about ourselves. And A Course says we can either teach crucifixion or we can teach resurrection. We can teach either fear or we can teach love. And here's the thing, though. Whatever it is we're teaching is what we attract to us. When I was teaching anger and negativity in my earlier years, I had a really angry and negative community. How did that happen? They were my mirror. And the self-love we reflect back to one another was what caused more anger and negativity. So if salvation is a collaborative venture, then our miscreation of fear and separation is as well. That's why, Jubilants, we got to be willing to recognize what we are teaching and learning in the world at every moment. Are we teaching fear? Are we teaching mistrust? Are we teaching separation, anger, or negativity? Check your Facebook posts. They'll tell you what you're doing. Or are we teaching love? Are we teaching trust? Are we teaching unity and gentleness and positivity? And if you want to know what you're teaching, look around you. Who's in your community? Because they will reflect back to you what kind of self-love you have going on. Those residents of Gander, Newfoundland, they were a clear mirror of unconditional self-love for all those plain people who descended on their town. And it wasn't by accident. It wasn't just a community that went, well, let's go. In the years prior to this event, they had implemented an emergency management plan, and it was mainly aimed at what the town would do if there were ever a plane crash in the area. They had a plan in place that included logistics for the planes, logistics for the people and the animals who were stranded, and it wasn't one person's job. It was the whole community, everybody. And that's our call, Jubilants, to become so dedicated to teaching and learning about true self-love that we have a community that we can call on when we're in need and be that community for others who need us. Those in Gander were living A Course. They were showing gratitude for all the holy siblings that just landed in their town on 9/11. Nobody asked about political and religious difference. Nobody asked about any divisive topic. They just showed up with their inner mirrors and reflected their love out into the world. So what are you teaching today, Jubilants? Are we teaching small s, selfish self-love that takes what it can get and leaves others to fend for themselves? Or are we teaching that unconditional, infinite, capital S self-love that shows appreciation for every holy sibling that crosses our path, for every holy sibling that crosses our mind at any given part of our day? God will come to you only as you will give God to your siblings, A Course reminds us. God will come to you only as you give God to your siblings. Learn first of them. Learn first of them, and you will be ready to hear God. That is because the function of love is one. If you really, really want to know what love is, jubilance, prepare yourself to see it everywhere. Look for it in everybody you meet. Those you consider your loved ones, strangers, especially those you see as enemies, especially those coworkers that challenge the hell out of you. What are you reflecting to them? And what can you see in the mirror they hold up for you? Those we love make us feel loved, but how often are we reflecting love on those we would rather hate? Those outside of you that you hate, they're just reflecting your own pattern of hatred right back at you. If it weren't inside of you, you wouldn't see it. And when you do see it, it's a sign that you need some healing. If others are doing great harm in the world around you, find a way to mitigate or end that suffering. That is still our job physically. But don't think you're any better than those who are acting on their hatred in the world. Because you see, it's part of all of us. And it's hampering our ability to truly love ourselves. So instead, try appreciating those you see as enemies, because they're giving you a gift. They're giving you the gift of self-awareness and the opportunity to heal a part of your own inner world, so you can end not just your own suffering, but their suffering too. Salvation is a collaborative venture. And it begins with learning to truly love ourselves without condition. And when we do fulfill the law and the prophets by ending our feelings of separation within, then we bring out that unifying love that makes the whole world say, oh yeah. 2, 3, 4. Gonna take a little time to look around me. Got nowhere left to hide. Looks like love has finally found me. In my life, there's been heartache and pain. I don't know if I can face it again. Can't stop now, I've traveled so far to change this lonely life. I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me. I wanna feel what love is. I know you can show me. I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me. I wanna feel what love is. I know you can show me. Yeah. I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me. I wanna feel what love is. I know you can show me. Oh yeah. All right. Give it up for Foreigner. Their biggest hit. Man, they had all these songs, and it was the love song that was the one that got it for them. All right. That's the point of Jubilee, is that you listen to regular songs on the radio and you don't see the spiritual side. So that's why we say we play secular music for spiritual people, because even in secular music, that's You're right. It's all spiritual, except for maybe, I don't know. There's probably some of them where you could just go. Can't. Ted Nugent's never written anything spiritual. So anyway, that was judgy. Thanks everybody for joining us this morning. Thank you out there. This is the part of the show where we do ask for your support, and God loves a cheerful giver. And if salvation is a collaborative effort, paying the rent is too. And keeping the lights on and all of that. And so far, this collaborative venture has been going on for about 12 years or so. So we are blessed by all of the folks who have collaborated with us to bring this community alive and to keep this community alive and going. And we are grateful for everyone who has done that. And you can join that group by going to jubileecircle.com. There is a button there for donations, and so you can donate on PayPal or Venmo, or you can write an old-fashioned check and send it to Post Office Box 4611. We've got an old-fashioned check right here. P.O. Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina 29240. So you can support us in that way as well. And we are grateful to everyone who has supported us. And Jim Mounts and I are working on perhaps broadcasting on Zoom at some point in the future. And y'all can join us on the talkback out there. So we can, you'll still be able to see us on YouTube, but you can log into Zoom and actually take part in this. So we're working on that. And we have all sorts of other things in the plans for the future. So thank you for your support, because without support, we can't make all of this happen. So thanks to Jim and everybody else this is a collaborative venture, and it's not just about me, it is about we. And thank you so much for the we who keeps supporting us. And remember, for those of you who are leaving us on YouTube, that gratitude, that's the thing. Gratitude, when we realize that salvation is a collaborative venture, we become grateful. We become grateful for everyone, because we are all working together. Some of us very unconsciously, but we are all working together in that collaborative venture of salvation. And as Meister Eckhart tells us, if the only prayer we ever say in our entire lives is thank you, it will be enough. And so thank you for watching. Thank you all for being here. We're going to do a little talk back, and we will see y'all next week. Oh yeah.